Thank you.
I like the purple.
I'm claiming my full royalty.
Nice. Nice. You're having a headache?
A very bad one.
Oh. Let's do a prayer.
We can, yes. I love you too, Lena.
Yeah.
I know I feel sick.
So Christy should be here in a minute. We should have a new person joining us. I'm gonna make you co-host, Sarah.
Okay.
So give me 1 second, you guys. I'm gonna step away from the screen. I've got
Hi, Andrea.
on my phone. Shh, no climbing over. Nanny needs quiet. You need to sit down and watch your little cartoon now, okay, please? Can you do that for me? Thank you. She's such a good little girl. Okay, so Christy knows, and he knows. So we'll see if they go ahead and join in. I was just checking and making sure I got everybody the link and the reminder sent. So my head hurts really bad right here. Like even, I don't know if it's from smiling, because I've been smiling a lot the last few days. So, but it's like right here, even with my ears and my jawbone, and it comes across right here at the top of my eyes. So I don't have my extra lighting on this evening, and I apologize if I'm blurry, but you guys, my eyes, the light hurts it so bad that you guys are already blurry, and if I turn the light on, then I have to close my eyes completely. So
You're fine.
I can't do the lesson with my eyes closed. I probably could if yeah, I probably could if I dropped into my heart and fully trusted myself to allow spirit to just work through me. And because I know that what's on this paper next to me on the screen is you know, just a lesson plan. It's not the full embodiment of the love and the truth that spirit wants to pass through in these lessons to you guys. So the lesson plan is just a part of it. Opening and falling into your heart and allowing spirit to speak to you and receive your truth is the full purpose of these lessons and of this recovery program. So yeah, and that was a message for myself too from spirit, for always remembering that I have everything I need within me when I drop into my heart and allow spirit to just lead, even if it's a little clunky and even if it's not to the plan on the page that you guys can't see that I have pulled up over here to reference as we go through the lesson plan. So
There we go.
I love that, right?
Yeah, and I love that. That's amazing.
So I think I haven't heard from Christy, but I'm thinking she's coming. But today's lesson plan is going to be pretty extensive. So I want to go ahead and get opened up, even though they haven't got joined in, and we'll just get them joined in as soon as they come. So I'll watch the door, Sarah, if you would like to open us with the invocation and get us
Yes,
started.
please. All right. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome to Solutions of Recovery. So glad that you could be here. You could be anywhere else, and you chose to be here with us today. So I really appreciate that. The invocation today for July 25th is going to be from the Angel Wisdom book, and it's knowing. So an angel reminder, the angels know us without having to believe in our existence. Do you believe in the angels? The angels would rather that you know them and not waste your time trying to believe in them. Belief closes the door. Knowing leaves the door open, allowing change and more knowledge to freely step in. The other side of belief is doubt. Belief cannot exist without it. But when we know something in our hearts, we trust it. And that is the antidote to doubt. So when we know the angels in our hearts, we transcend human belief systems. You do not need to prove your knowledge to anyone. It is yours to keep and cherish. And when that knowledge involves the angels, your life will be proof in favor of heaven. Think about any belief that you have and ask yourself where it came from. What information keeps you glued to that belief? Start to take your beliefs less seriously and enjoy the lightness of knowing something in your heart. An angel reflection is, my heart peacefully rests in knowing the angels from the deepest and most secure part of my being. Amen. And so that is. So today we were actually going to do a little bit more of a deeper dive into the limiting beliefs that we found last week. And then today we're going to find out exactly the first time that it happened, so we can release that belief system and know something else that the angels want us to know about ourselves, and that we're actually angels with them. So I hope you can take in that new knowing that the angels are with us always and guiding us to a better existence within ourselves for everyone out there. So Pastor Brenda, let's get started with that deep dive. Yeah? There's Pastor Brenda.
I am so totally still muted and I'm just talking away over here. I do that quite frequently, you guys, just FYI warning. So identifying the events that caused the limiting beliefs. So what does this mean? When we talk about identifying the events, let me just drop into my heart here. I feel that there's just a connection. Thank you for giving me that moment. Identifying the events that cause the limiting beliefs. So in identifying the events, what this is referring to is finding the limiting belief. I'm going to use an example of mine so I can better explain to you. I find examples really help me, and so I'm going to give you an example of how I identified an event. So a really big limiting belief for me was that I was worthless. And in identifying the event that created that belief, I had to go back to, excuse me, you guys, for my puppy, Misty, hush. So I had to go back to and recognize the age that I was when I developed that belief to help myself identify the event. So for me, the first time I felt worthless, that I really took that label in that I remembered was at the age of 11 when I told the truth about my brother molesting me. So, giving myself the a timeline or identifying the age I was when I developed the belief helped me identify the event at the same time. Excuse me just a minute. I'm gonna mute myself and hush this dog. And can you just kind of give an example for me, Sarah Jean, with how you identified one while I put her away, please?
Yes, I'll do that. Yes. So identifying one of the limiting beliefs that I had was that I was unlovable. And the unlovable part for me was when I was with my husband and he was pretty abusive, and that it just kept on happening, right? Like, not only did this happen with my husband, it happened with other relationships that I had and all these different things. So when I started to identify that this was a part of me was when I started to see that this was a reoccurring event that was happening, not only just with one person, it happened with multiple people. And so I needed to figure out why this kept on happening and why this was happening. And it was the part where I felt unlovable and unwanted and not worthy of love. And so the big thing was for me was that I made them false idols. That's when I found out was that I was actually making them my God, and that if I didn't have them, then I was worthless, and that I wasn't worthy of love, and that I'd never have them. So it was a big thing for me to identify that. And it wasn't just the first time that this happened, it happened over many times. So the first time that it actually happened was when I was a little girl and I was beat up by my parents. And so I basically was thinking that I needed to get beat up to constantly feel like I was being loved, right? Or that I wasn't worthy of it, right? So then I kept on finding these boyfriends or these people in my life to beat me up because I was unworthy of it. So going back to when it first happened was when I was a little kid, and, you know, they were just doing the best that they could. They didn't understand, they didn't know. And I was doing the best that I could. And the survival patterns that you go through, like, oh no, this isn't right, you're not supposed to be doing this. Parents get very you know, worried about, like, no, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to have that happen. So they take it in their own hands to basically believe whatever it is that they were taught as well from when they were kids. So they're doing the best that they could at that moment. Was when I found out, like, okay, well, that's just a survival mechanism. That's not the real truth, right? So when I found that out, it kind of obliterated that, and where I needed to have more of a relationship with God and what was my truth, what was my understanding. And it's not to put hands on nobody. So, like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to beat up people, right? And so I was actually beating myself up after that moment that happened, because I always felt like I was wrong, or that I was doing something wrong, or that it wasn't right. And that's not the truth at all. The truth is when you go in and you start to realize we're all doing the best that we are supposed to be doing here, and that I needed a better relationship with my God and not make false idols into people, and to really look at what the real thing is. And that was knowing that I was a part of God, and that I am always worthy, and that I'm doing the best that I can with what was brought to me. So the biggest thing is to really dig deep and really find those first times that these happened, because it obliterates it. It makes it to where the truth is known about all of it. You can't forget it, but at least you're bringing in God with you to see it from a different perspective. And that's where you get your truth. That's where you get the knowing of what's actually happening here and why you had to go through all of those things. I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be able to be the person that I am without all of those things happening. And they were all doing the best that they could. And they were actually here to help wake me up to believe in something different, that I am worthy, that I am loved, that I am supposed to be guiding people into recognizing that they are loved and worthy too. But if I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't be able to have these conversations with you. Without those stories, without those experiences, I wouldn't be able to lift other people out of the dark. So it's a big, huge thing to be able to go back and say, no, this isn't right, but it is right for the right now. Because right now is the point where I've woken up and now I have these beautiful experiences of letting those things go and shedding those things off to where, I'm here to be here to see everything and to go through all these things with you guys now in a whole brand new light and a different perspective. And that's with God, so own your truth and find that part and don't be afraid. Just you're there with yourself now and you're going to guide yourself through it. It's a big thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah Jean. And I apologize for the barking dog and the yelling child in the background there. It at moments I think the universe tests me with everything going on around me to distract me from really falling into my heart and being able to give the truth, right? Because if the universe, if my ego, and if the environment around me can keep me distracted from falling into my heart, as you just witnessed me do, fall into my heart, and then all chaos break loose in my house with the dog and the kid, and my phone's over here ringing. And so, it happens to every one of us, and it's beautiful awareness, because when we're able to recognize what's really happening and not let that affect us, right? Like I could have just give myself a tremendously huge label with all the happenings that just occurred, and I had to let Sarah Jean take over the meeting for a minute so I could calm the house down, and I could have made that mean that I wasn't good enough to be leading you guys, or I wasn't prepared, or I hadn't prepared the environment, and that meant I wasn't good enough, right? So I could have used every bit of this to give myself a label and make it mean that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't delivering and giving to y'all what I promised when you signed up for this class. And then I could have went even further to beat myself up and say, oh, I'm really not worth being able to do this, right? Because I'm just as fucked up as everybody else, and my environment's just as fucked up as everybody else's. And I could have spiraled into that and actually allowed it to create a block within me to be able to connect with you guys and be able to be the leader that I am, and still continue to do these meetings, right? I could have used that whole situation to create an event and let it spiral out of control. And that's kind of what we do in situations where we're faced with a trauma or an event that we don't know how to categorize. How do you say that?
Categorize.
Yes, that's it. That's the word. And so I just got really excited. And it's like just allowing the situation to be. Like I could get really upset and freak out, right, about the dog and the kid over here talking over me, or I can recognize that she's 2.5 years old and she knows that I'm not exactly paying 100% attention to her, so she's creating racket, so I'll look over there and pay attention to her, right? And as I don't respond to the racket that she's creating, she becomes quieter and quieter. And that's beautiful because it's teaching her that I'm not going to respond to her racket making so she can get attention. And it's teaching her to self-soothe and be okay with me not responding to her in this moment. And at times, as children, we make moments like this that our adults are using to teach us lessons mean something about us because we don't see the lesson in it yet, right? But as an adult with a mind that can reason and think through a process and think through a moment in time or an event that happened to us, we're able to actually go back and rationalize these events and reprogram what they meant about us. And that is what this lesson's really about, in identifying the event. So when we identify the event that created the limiting belief, we can go through and examine it, just like the example I give you now in this personal moment, right? And find where and what's creating it and what belief we're about to make it mean about us, right? Because I recognize the belief that that popped up, that I wasn't providing you a good enough space to learn in because it was loud here this evening. And I recognized the belief that I was about to give myself, that I wasn't good enough, and and I could have let it spiral out of control. And I have done that, right? In beliefs that were not true about me. And we all do it. And it's not good or bad, and it's not right or wrong, but it's just the way we were taught and the way we were programmed to believe. So as we identify these limiting beliefs and the event that created them, go back through the events to find our full truth of who we are. Excuse me just a moment. I got a burp stuck in there. I'm gonna have to flip this light on because I can't see without it on my computer screen. And so for me, I'm gonna just go through a little list here and give you some examples. In your workbook, the pages is laid out and described for you. And so I always give an example under each description of something in my life. So one of my main limiting beliefs was that I was worthless. And I gave myself this belief when I was denied my truth at the age of 11. And identifying that event, I was able to take God back, or Jesus. I love to take Jesus back into the event with me. You can choose to take anybody or anything that you resonate the most with, that you connect most in your spirit with, back to this event with you, so that this person or this being that you bring back with you can give you your full truth of who you are. And that's the purpose of this exercise, is to identify the events. So the event was I was molested, and I made that mean that I was worthless, right? Because I didn't know as a child, I didn't know as a little girl, that being molested didn't make me worthless. Nobody told me this. They told me I was a liar, but they didn't tell me that it didn't mean that I was worthless. I was never given my truth about what being molested meant about me. And that truth is the same for me as it is for anybody that's ever been molested. And that truth is that you are none of the things that you've labeled yourself as because you were molested. You're not ruined. You're not worthless. You're not no good. You're not never gonna amount to anything. You're so worth love, right? So, and these are labels that we give ourselves when a trauma events like this happen to us. And in identifying the event is how we get our truth, right? It's how we find the pain points. And it sounds kind of bad to say the pain points, but those are our pinpoints, right? Those pain points that we carry with us throughout our lives that affect us and that create chaos in our lives, that flare up every time an event happens or a word is spoken that triggers us back into those moments. So identifying the event or the pain point is a key to being able to distinguish and release the limiting belief. Whew. And I forgot to breathe through all that, just so you guys know. I'm going to take some sharing, and what I would like to reflect on in this share is I would like you to center in on one limiting belief that you have carried with you throughout your lifetime that has created the most impact in your life. And I want you to do your best to stay in your heart and identify the feeling or the limiting belief that that event created without adding in a lot of backstory. So I'm going to open it up and take some sharing and take a few breaths and center myself. So go ahead and just unmute. Go ahead, Christy. I see you unmuted.
Hey, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, baby.
Okay. So I guess not being good enough or being accepted, like, like just being accepted for who I am. My sister's like, oh, you're not cool enough, or you're weird, or just being so. I've always been really different. I just found out today that they think I'm bipolar. I went to this therapy. They're like, pretty sure you're bipolar. I haven't taken any meds or anything, so I don't really want to, because this has happened my whole life.
So can you identify an event that happened in your life towards the very first time that you felt this not good enough or wanting to be accepted as you are?
I feel like my whole life, for sure. Like I just feel like I think everybody's special. People just don't know it. Like maybe I do know it. But yeah, I mean, I still, even today, like there's this guy that lives in this bus in our backyard, and he's like, I just feel like he's constantly judging me or unaccepting, or like people are always sizing people up. It's a constant thing. Everybody's looking at everybody, comparing themselves. Oh, you a dime, you with this, like you or something. It's just constant. And it's just like, or whoever is, like people.
Can you
so
pinpoint? Can you pinpoint like the first time, the first event? Laylina Leanne.
Lillian, what a cute little.
Can you pinpoint a first event of when you actually might have felt the not good enough that happened? Usually the events happen that we can pinpoint most between the age of 7 and.
I remember like trying to draw a little girl, and she's like, what are you drawing? You're not even drawing the little girl right. You can't draw. So my whole life I thought I couldn't draw. And I still don't think I can draw, but I really have a desire to paint. But we're going to try to do, it's like showing up as your authentic self, which can be very difficult, because it's like, it's like, what, who's this person? Is she serious? Is she crazy? Like the lady that interviewed me today did the mental intake evaluation for the therapy. It was like 2 hours long. And she was saying, she was like, when you first came in, I was like, whoa, where's this girl coming from? Is she a little crazy or something? Like, but whatever. But then once she found out that I was an herbalist and all these other things, it made total sense to her, everything that I guess I said at the beginning. At least that's what she said. And she was like, I think, you know, you have really good strategy. So it must have been like her telling me, you know, like, oh, you aren't even drawing the tree right. You aren't drawing the little girl right. You're supposed to do it this way, you know, or like, oh, you don't even know how to inhale that cigarette or whatever it was. But drawing's definitely one of them.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you for that share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all for y'all shares. Sorry, I haven't been as glued in, but I'm listening.
Oh, you're fine, hon. You're fine. It's loud where I'm at too. I can see the ocean behind you and some scenes. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. I love the wind. It's amazing. So don't you worry. So
Where are you at, Christy?
I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm on the edge of America. Charleston, South Carolina.
So how about you, Andrea? Would you like to share?
I'm having a challenge today tuning in and feeling connected, you know, with my heart and with everyone. But I've tried to get in my heart space and I'm looking at my list to see what would be like the main one. And it could be that I'm confused. Like it's kind of gone back and forth between incapable and being confused, which actually, if I believe I'm confused, I would also feel I'm incapable of like making decisions, doubting like responsibility, things like that. So when I think of the first time, I don't know if this is it. This has come up before in another like a breakthrough process where my mom and dad were fighting. I was like two or three, and I guess like, you know, the idea of what love looked like was confusing because he was yelling at my mom, and I was trying to like get his attention to like, you know, like dad, like it's okay, like type of thing, and I didn't know why they were arguing, but eventually a bench was like thrown across the room, and I remember being so little that it was very terrifying, you know, for something like that to happen. But I guess I felt confused because like it took a lot for me to like go into like bravery to go into that situation, but then it like didn't work, or like I actually remember him kind of like putting his arm down, like not hitting me, but like where I like kind of like scooted back or like fell a little bit, and it is very confusing. So I guess, is that the answer for right now?
That is the answer for right now. Very beautiful, Andrea. Thank you for that very vulnerable share. Thank you for dropping into your heart and bringing up this feeling in this moment, because that's how we're going to release it, right? We got to feel it to heal it. And the great thing about these tools is we only have to feel it for a few moments, and then we can use our tools and get our truth, right? So would you like to receive a truth today on this belief and get it released?
Yeah, it keeps like it's coming up where it like has to do with my voice, like wanting to speak up, you know. And yeah, I would like to receive more of that truth.
Awesome, amazing. So you guys, let's just hold this space for just a moment and get Andrea walked through a breakthrough around this belief while she's in this emotion. It's really important while you're in your heart space and in the emotion to go ahead and get this belief released. And that's what these meetings are for, right? That's what this space is for healing and to find our truth. So I'm going to ask that we all just take a couple of deep breaths and center ourselves in the presence of love, and know that we're in the safety of family and of people that see us in our highest and greatest self, that you're in a space of non-judgment, and that nothing but love flows here. Nothing but love and truth is what we give, and is what flows through this space. A place of peace and serenity that we open up with inside of ourselves, so that we can receive the truth of who we are and of the moments that we've experienced in our life, so that we can release them and see the true love and beauty within inside of each moment of our life. So as we come before love in this moment, we just ask that you wrap your arms around us, love, and that you never let us go, that you hold us through this moment of pain as we release the lie we've told ourselves into the hands of love, into the hands of our truth. And we believe, and we say this knowing, we say it in knowing that love is all that exists, and that we are love. And so it is. Okay. So we've identified the age, and we identified the belief as confused, incapable, and scared. Okay. And right before, in this moment, when you walk into the room and you see your parents fighting, and you're in this state of confusion, and you don't know what's going on around you, but you know that you're afraid, and you feel this fear within you because you just don't know what's happening. And you try to go up to your dad to get his attention so all the screaming and yelling will stop. And in that moment, your dad reached back to push you, to move you out of the way, to remove you from this moment of anger that him and your mother were experiencing. And in that moment, you give yourself a belief about yourself. You made it mean something about yourself. Can you bring that, what you made it mean about yourself, up into the light?
What's coming up for me is what I say, like I'm too small to speak. And what I say doesn't matter. It's not going to create a change.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful awareness. Thank you. So right before you form this belief, someone comes in, someone comes in that you fully trust and know will tell you the truth. Who do you bring into this moment?
Michael, the Archangel.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as Michael the Archangel comes into the room and he wraps his big golden wings around you, what does he tell you your truth is in this moment? What does he say is really happening?
is all meant to be, and the smallness that you feel now is what others will see. You're destined to be. I don't know. It's not coming through, but it's like there's a start to it.
Try closing your eyes, Andrea, and being there in that moment with Archangel Michael. He has his sword of truth. And I ask him also to cut that cord of disbelief and to give you back your truth in this moment so you can see and feel and hear his words and bring clarity to your mind about what your truth is. What would this angel say to you, to this little girl that was scared?
And I'm so brave. And I'm so courageous. And I'm the same little girl that I was then. It's like, I do matter, and what I say matters. And it was all for the divine plan to speak up for others. And I don't know, it's like fragmented. Like,
it's beautiful.
it's like I can see it. I have a visual, but I don't have, like, the words aren't coming through.
That's okay.
It's like a visual of, like, the opener of the door, like almost like I'm smiling in that same situation. Like, look, she's doing it. Like, she's walking in there, and she's like being loving, and she's not concerned of what physical harm can happen to her. And she's just like, yes, like you're so brave, like to walk in there and use their little voice, like it's a big voice, and he's got a big smile on his face, and just like comfort, like go on in, like it's the same way, like we need to see the world today, you know, like. I can't pray to my nose.
What do you feel now? What is your truth now with all of that?
It's all love. It's all love. Like that was what my dad knew. That was what my mom knew, and I knew something different. I knew something different, and I wanted to be that change in that situation. And instead, I put a belief that altered like a cycle of events for me, like for years. But now the truth is that like it's all been a part of me understanding how strong I am and how strong my voice is, and how I've known the whole time that love is all there is. And I can be that change that I wish to see, in that moment. And I even was being changed in that moment. That's such a little girl that just now is so little. God love me. God love me. That's the truth. I think I thought that God didn't love me. Like, God does love me and always has
I want to show you how brave you are, Andrea, because you just didn't just do this for yourself. You did this for all the little girls out there that have gone through that same thing. And you just did this for all of us. And you just woke us all up to that truth too, to spread that truth and spread that voice. And that's you. Look how brave and courageous you are. I hope you're not confused anymore of how much you're an angel. You have me in tears, just breaking the veil. Andrea, you're an amazing lighthouse. Speak that voice of truth and that wisdom, that you're such an angel on this planet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hallelujah.
Thank you. That was great.
I'm speechless. I can't even.
Do you have us all in tears? There's not a dry eye in this room.
Woo.
Oh,
That was so beautiful. The love that I just felt poured through as you were saying your truth. It was so overwhelming and so beautiful. Yeah, that's what this work is all about, right? It's about receiving that truth and receiving that love back in ourselves. And it's like Sarah Jean said, we're setting humanity free. We're setting so many free when we recognize and accept our truth. And how brave you were in those moments, how brave that little girl was to enter a room that she didn't know what was happening in, and to use her little voice to put a break in the situation, right? To try to distract the situation and bring it back into love. And even though you couldn't feel the love in that moment, today you can see that that moment was a perfect picture to show you the opposite of love, and the opposite of I have a word that I want to put with communication that I can't quite get into my thoughts, so maybe it's not even meant to be in, but yeah, so I'm just gonna skip that, right? Because it's not flowing in, so it must have been just a thought in my mind and not a message from love. And that happens, and that's okay when we can recognize them, right? And
that's brave too, Pastor Brenda, to even recognize that and state that. That's huge. This
well,
room is just, yeah, this is a gorgeous room, gorgeous place. And Andrea, I just have to say this because this is coming through, is that little girl was so brave that she decided to go through it twice, because you're going through it again right now. And you decided to do all that just so you could be here in this moment to be with that little girl again and set her free. And that's huge. That's so brave. That is so courageous. Like you said, it is that big. And now you're free of that. You're completely free of that. And you're going to set a lot of people free without even having to speak. It will be speechless. It will be that way, because look at what it did for all of us in this room, you know, and it's going to unveil that truth and that wisdom that we all have a voice, and that maybe some things just aren't the way that it seems, you know, and to look at it a different way and to bring love with that. I do have a thing that I wanted to read, and it's a inspired poem by Rumi. And I was talking with Brenda about this earlier, and I think it's just a perfect time for that. And it's called Without Love. Without love, partying and good times won't go very far without love. Human existence won't elate or evolve if 100 drops of rain fall from the clouds over the sea without the motion of love. Not one drop can create a hidden precious pearl. So thinking of that and thinking of all that stuff, all those drops, all those tears that we shed, all of this pain, all of that stuff that we think that we're without love, it actually was love, and it was making us into a precious pearl. So if you think about that, how big that is, that you're this precious pearl and you had to go through all of these things to think that you weren't with love, but you actually were the entire time, and it was you. You know, that's the biggest thing that I think is the greatest love story to be a part of, isn't it? And we're loving ourselves back home, you know, so I'm so proud of all of us here today. And thank you, Andrea, for that beautiful, beautiful experience. You've set my heart and opened up so many doors as well. You are such a leader, and thank you for going first in that moment to bring that light to us today. So thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Like, things that you all were saying, like, I didn't, you know, sometimes I've had experiences where it would just, you know, come up, and it just, there's something about the visual too. And when I sat with the visual of it, it's like, it kind of helped, it assisted in my heart space, and then the guidance of when y'all would say something. So I just, I feel like so much levity and light with it. And I have a question though, like, it's come up before, and it was a different, it was very similar with the visual, yet I think there was a deeper truth of, like, when I said God loved me, it's like I was asking God to love me in that moment, and then realized and remembered that He always has, like, and that I was loved then. So sometimes I guess with the breakthroughs, they can be opened up even deeper. Is that the case? Because that's the first time I've experienced that, where it was similar.
Oh yeah. And the more that you pay attention, the more that you focus, the more that you are willing to be open and vulnerable with your own heart and have that truth being witnessed by yourself, it opens up these things. Like, we have all these protectors, right? And that's our memories, our guards, basically, are our memories of, like, you remember when you experienced that, you don't want to do that, right? And it'll bring up all these things. And when you're in this space with other people, you feel this safety, and you feel this security, and you feel this this allowance of, like, no, I think I'm okay. I think I can get through this now. And so you dropped your guard down, and you actually sat with your inner child and remembered who you were. Now, how you remember is all the beauty that everyone else has uniquely. And that was your experience. And we got to experience that with you. And how amazing is that? Like, that we get to go through that with you. Like, thank you, you know, and it's just, it opens up consciousness. It opens up the awareness, because all of our minds feel that. Like, you know, when you're feeling it and you're in your heart space, that memory now has something to go with it, that it's okay for us to share our voice. It's okay for us to feel brave, and the courage and the bravery is heart space. So it's a big thing. Like, it's huge what you went through for all of us just now, and it's big.
Yes.
I was saying it with, I don't know how it affects you all, but it's like I'm looking at you and I still have the visual going, where it's like I'm grabbing Michael's hand, just almost by like one finger, and I'm like, come here, look at her, look at what she's doing, like, she's so brave. And it's like a whole outer, like a, not outer body experience, but like a whole another little girl right there, like in a whole, I don't know, it's just mind blowing.
Isn't it?
I love it. I love that you got to have that experience, and it'll give you a tool to use in your next breakthrough, right? when you get to that stuck feeling and you're like, oh, I can't get my truth, I'm not hearing my truth, you can remember to drop into your heart and drop into the visualization of what's actually happening in the room in the moment that you're receiving your truth. And that'll bring you back into love so you can receive it. And you'll have this beautiful experience of actually getting to see your truth, because that's something that I haven't actually experienced. She just fell out of the.
She went silent for a second. Bring Archangel Michael. He's your truth. Do a lot of things right now to sit with him and call on him whenever you're feeling scared, whenever you feel like you're in an overwhelming moment. Just close your eyes and be like, Archangel Michael, tell me the truth. That's your guardian angel. That's the person that you called on when you were most terrified and scared, and he's always been with you. So call on him. He's right there. It's so gorgeous.
Well, I didn't know. I know we're limited time left, but I didn't know. You know, I was uncertain until this point of where to share this. So last night I started having memories come up of my last relapse, and I kept trying to like focus on something else. But like it was, I reached out to someone and told them like I had thought about using, but I ended up saying like I'm praying for miracles, for the angels to direct my thinking, my thoughts, to protect me and things. And now saying what you just said specifically, and the experience today, I think would benefit me in a situation like that to ask what you said. What is my truth? To ask Michael. Okay.
Yeah. See, it's crazy that you say that, because that even opens up a thing I was telling Pastor Brenda earlier. I had a dream that I was like picking up all of this dope for someone, and I'm back in my hometown, and it's so easy. I know exactly where to get it on Beach Boulevard inside of California. You know, it's really easy for me to do all that stuff. It's where I even started. And I was having all of these memories and all this stuff, and with my dream, and I was just like, wow, like I changed my dream when I was in it. I was like, I ain't gonna pick that up. Nope. I've got to remember that I can fly. And I started remembering that I could fly in my dream, and I flew away from it. And then I was realizing, I'm like, oh man, I'm actually not supposed to be running away. I'm supposed to be showing them how to fly. You know, so I went back and I was telling the people that were actually going through all that stuff, like how to fly. And so it kind of brings up this moment where I'm right here, right now with you guys, and teaching you guys and remembering how to fly, you know, with Archangel Michael. And it's just that's just like such a huge thing. It brings tears to me, you know, because it makes me not ever want to relapse, even though that I go through those thoughts too. So it's big.
Well, thank you so much, Eugene. I had a dream the other night that I wouldn't have said flying, but it was like I was levitating or like flying, and it was a totally, because I kept having dreams of relapse, but then this one popped up, and I'm like, what are you about? And what you just said makes sense to it all. Like it brings it full circle.
Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I've been in my dreams, I've been flying, and I've been like visiting old timelines, old dimensions. And I felt like I was in a dimension with somebody, and I was with this person, and I was just, no, we're not doing this. We're not picking this up. We're not going down this road again. Like, and it completely changed that whole entire dimension. And so like, it was even showing them how to fly again. And I was like, wow, is this for real right now? Is this really happening? And then today, it really makes it real when I'm looking at you guys, and I'm like, maybe it is true. Maybe I am teaching people how to fly again, you know, and fly in love, basically, you know. That's just, but you guys are doing it for
I
me.
haven't had a
So it's the
flying
same
dream
thing.
in
It's
a
the
long,
same
long
thing. Like
time.
you guys are doing it for me
I
too.
want a flying dream.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love it. I love that we get to be for each other in these times, right? We get to be truth, and we get to be love, and we get to be light. and we get to assist each other in remembering how to fly and how to truly be who we are and be okay with that and be okay with the imperfections and be okay with each moment that passes and not use it to beat ourselves up with, right? Because that's where the relapse comes in, and that's where the pain and the struggle comes in, when we take these moments and use them to beat ourselves up with, instead of finding the lesson in them and remembering our truth. So each and every one of us, on this special journey, get to be this for each other. And it blesses me so much every time I get to see Sarah Jean, and I get to see you, Andrea, and I get to see you, Christy, being the angel that's wrapping some little girl or little boy in his arms and hugging the truth right into him, right? Because that's what we really get to do. We get to hug the truth back into somebody. We get to hold the space so they can receive it. And that's the most beautiful gift.
Don't make me cry again, Brenda.
You got me all emotional, Andrea. No. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for just being so vulnerable and dropping into your heart and receiving your truth today. And I can see it all over you. I can see the light that's just reflecting in your smile, that you totally received today, a truth that you needed. And now when that confusion comes up, and when that incapable feeling comes up, you can confront it with this truth that you received today. You are capable of using your voice, and your voice is so powerful that it sets everyone free. Look at what your voice created today. It created this beautiful space of love inside of yourself, inside of me, inside of Sarah Jean, and inside of Christy. So that's power right there. That's power to remember.
And every person that we touch, when the one person lights one candle, and that spreads and lights many. Think of how many people you just ripple effect. Every person that ever comes into my life, any person that ever comes into Brenda's or Christy's life, you just made that ripple effect, even with yourself. No matter what now, that light can't ever be distinguished. It just keeps on getting passed on because we went through that just now. And it's huge. We just planted that seed for thousands upon thousands of people. That's gorgeous. And you're beaming right now, by the way. I have the power of vision, and I see this entity behind you just holding you and cheering you, and just you have this aura of just this peach, and it's so beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I love you guys so much. Damn, that takes away any kind of drug to get kind of lifted like that,
Doesn't it?
I don't think I've ever been that high before in my life. Right? That sets this doorway open,
I know. I don't have a headache anymore.
Woo! See that?
Right? We manifested something there.
See, you prayed for her relief earlier. See? Look at that. Look at Christy. She's so happy right now. You can just see it all over her face.
I know. That powerful voice that prayed for my headache a few moments ago was heard, right? Because I don't have a headache, and your voice just illuminated power and beauty and grace and truth all over every one of us. And in that, I received healing for my headache. So never allow your ego to tell you your voice is weak and small and incapable, because it just produced like this mighty brightness and energy of, man, I can't even describe like how I
It's the
feel.
picture in her background. It's that huge wave, that ripple.
Yes. Woohoo. Oh, I love it. So this was
I know we're all glowing. It was like a baptismal almost.
oh, I love it. Woohoo.
Let
We
that
were,
love flow, stand in alignment. It's so wonderful to pray together.
yes, definitely.
So
Most
glad we have
definitely.
that. I'm so honored to be a part of this little group here. It has really been like my bread and butter, like my, like the thing that makes the sandwich stick together. So,
Heck yes, that's beautiful. So over this week, between today and Friday, what I want you guys to do is just the same thing we did today, and find a belief that is affecting your life, identify the event, and find your truth, right? And if you can't find your truth, I want you to exercise reaching out to receive your truth. Okay, and I want you to do this from Monday, from this evening until Friday. And then Friday, I want you to bring the one that you couldn't get through by yourself to the breakthrough meeting, so we can break through that together.
Amen.
Because there are some that you will need assistance with. There are some that I still need assistance with, and I've been doing this work for 1.5 years, right? So
Same here. We do it all the time. Me and Brenda do it all the time together.
back
Same
and
with
forth.
you, Andrea. We used to do it a lot too.
And
We did.
so, yeah, so, if you get stuck, reach out. If you need some tools or techniques or questions, reach out. Yeah, and we'll get through this together, right? As we remember love together, and the process will just be beautiful, and it'll be energy that we can all feed ourselves off of and from, right? As the truth, as we receive our truth, that energy produces meat that we can all eat, right?
That's so true.
Woo,
Yeah,
I
our
love it.
number one job, like what I'm feeling, what Spirit's asking to say is like our purpose. All of our purposes is to wake up and go first, and then have our unique essence being shown on how to wake up other people. That's our only mission and our only job. And we have a beautiful way of doing it, whether it's painting, whether it's conversations, whether it's being a bum on the street. It doesn't matter, as long as you are alive and happy and like doing it your own way. And you're just making those goals and those steps forward to wake up the world. That's what we're here. It's the Great Awakening. And thank God that we get to be a part of it. See what I mean?
Yes.
Like this is a big time to be alive, and don't let anyone squash you like a bug, because you don't bug me. You are my beautiful butterflies. Spread those wings and let's shine. Let's shine together.
I love y'all. Thank you.
No more caterpillar language. We're going to do butterfly language. I love you guys so much.
I love you guys. So one more thing, I'm gonna stop the recording, but I want you guys to stay for just a minute, because I want to ask a question. Where is stop?